Welcome to the Coin-Op Cowboys, the podcast where four guys explore the absurdities of everyday life, sharing our entertaining experience and insights on a variety of topics. Hello, CoinOp-ians. This week, Ryan discusses one of our long-lost episodes of Tiffany Gomas, where she questions the reality of a passenger on an American Airlines flight. Has the government been censoring Ryan in an attempt to reveal the truth? We'll find out. But first, Angel discusses the uncomfortable topic of insecurity and where it may show up in our professional lives. Our episode release has been off the last few weeks. Whose fault is it? It's mine. I've been busy with life, but we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, so we appreciate your patience as we get our content out. We read more feedback this week as well. Drop us a line if you want your comments and mail heard on air. Like, subscribe, follow, and rate us. Be sure to spread the word about this episode to your friends. You don't want to miss this one. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Radio, Apple, and Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your favorite entertainment. We release a new episode every week, so take a listen to past episodes and get all caught up because you deserve it. Now, I just switched cameras to the main stage. We were talking about Steven's throuple from the last episode, where he was chatting up two trans people on a mobile game. Huh. I never thought I'd say that. Let's hop on over and see where he left off.
Oh, fuck.
Dang.
And I said something about him doing jumping jacks in basketball shorts and how it'd be like, you know, hot to watch that or something.
What?
And
I started recording.
and then he goes, oh, I guess you don't know. And I'm like,
I guess you don't know. I've got the pump behind my balls that I squeeze. Who even says?
I'm taking it out of context right now, but it was like totally.
Who says
it was
something
no,
like
it
that?
was totally in context. It made sense. Like they were talking about like some like floppage or whatever in basketball shorts. Like they were talking about it.
Floppage.
And I'm like, oh yeah, Knox doing jumping jacks, yeah, or something like that. And then they're like, oh, you don't know. He doesn't know that I'm actually a woman.
I don't know what context that's a normal thing to say to another man, Steven.
Mailbag makes sense. You know, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with that mailbag guy. But if you saw that picture, I would never know that's a woman. That looks like a man.
Nope. That is a woman.
that you want to see doing jumping jacks and basketball shorts. Okay.
I was flirting, Ryan. I was trying to be I'm trying to flirt.
You know, like right before the podcast, I've been listening to this comedian, Bert Kreischer. He's the guy Kreischer. He's the guy that takes his shirt off. So it's been really funny listening to his stand-up. So I started watching this. He has like a few episodes called The Cabin, where he's like, right?
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love The Cabin.
So I'm on episode 2, which is basically he's in like a cabin in the middle of Malibu, like out in the woods somewhere, and he's just trying to do like a refresh your life, but he like invites comedians and stuff to come by and visit him, and that's the where the humor takes place. So I'm in episode 2, and Caitlyn Jenner came by, and I don't know why I envisioned that Caitlyn Jenner had like a feminine voice, but it's still a very like masculine voice, and I wasn't like ready for that. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, you know, do what you want to do, but it just didn't ring for that. So when I was thinking of your throuple here, I was like, oh, it's probably like a real soft, like feminine voice, and then, or no, it's probably a hard masculine voice. And then I realized, like you were saying, probably when they talk, you're like, oh yeah, it's really noticeable in the inflection of the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that episode. Nikki Glazer's walks in with him waxing his ass.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something early on in that cabin thing that they brought somebody and it was like super fucking awkward and weird? I'm trying to remember.
Every moment of the episode.
Wasn't it the blonde chick from Big Bang Theory?
Oh yeah,
I forgot that episode.
Dude, it is so good because they bring her and then it's Miss Pat. And Miss Pat is like straight up gangster. Like she got her nipple shot off.
What?
And she is like straight hood and get with like one of like the preppiest, like what's her name? Penny from The Big Bang Theory, and just kind of mesh them together.
Well, her
Penny.
name. But
I don't know her real name.
So
But yeah, they had to like process an emu, and I was like, oh, this is random. And then they like rolled cigars, which was really hilarious.
Yeah, the fucking Superman of Cuba.
Yeah, Superman of Cuba that had a 16-inch dick or something.
18-inch dick, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
18-inch dick cold.
Marlon Brando came by to visit him.
Oh, Kaylee Cuoco.
I'm gonna watch that after this.
But they brought her on and then like juxtaposed juxtaposed her shit with a really hood bitch, and it was like, and she started attacking her, like on the show, right? Like, didn't she start like fucking attacking her character and everything? And then the chick didn't know what to do. She was just so out of her element, and it was super fucking awkward. And it was like,
I like the one with Bobby Lee.
It's like the first one, man. It's like really early on. It happened like 4 years ago. Bobby Lee is a trip.
Oh yeah.
I used to really like Chris D'Elia when he would do that kind of stuff, like the podcast and going on these other podcasts. Like I feel like he's really good commentary. He's really like, but like I fucking hate his stand up. His stand up is way overdone and like it's just not funny. But his podcasts are fucking hilarious. And he's a fucking creepy fucking sex addict too, which is awesome because he got canceled for a whole year.
And he doesn't do drugs or alcohol. And he's like, it's funny because people look at me and think I sell drugs, and I was like, yes.
No.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, that's like in his stand up.
Yes.
I enjoyed his stand up. I didn't want to like rain on your guys' parade.
Yep. I saw him like at the Laugh Factory before I really got into his podcast or anything, and he was really funny there. But like I think his specials when he does like when he hams it up, kind of like Dane Cook does in his, kind of like just. I think what's funny about him is like his nuance and like just kind of his reactions to stuff.
Yeah, he has great presence. But oh my God. So like a couple of episodes ago, you were talking about comedians, like the live going. It's a difference between listening, like on a CD or like online versus actually being in the comedy club. The only stand-up comedy that I've really enjoyed in person, and I've been like, I almost passed out laughing, was the first time I saw Theo Von. Actually, it was the second time I saw Theo Von. He is the best.
Theo Von is a gem. Big time gem.
I love his... I love the back and forth Chris D'Elia has with Brian Callen.
Yeah, it was so good before he got canceled. Like everything, even when Chris D'Elia came back, I felt like he just didn't know the lines to cross anymore.
And it was around the same time he had his kid.
He just kind of was too careful after that.
Him coming back, he was really careful. And then he was like a fresh dad, and a lot of fresh dads are like, oh my God, life is so precious. It is.
He did say it had a big effect on him. He's like, I cried like a big baby when my son was born. And it just kind of made a switch in his head go off, which I heard that right before I became a dad. And I was like, oh my God, that moment, I wonder what it's going to feel like for me. And when my kid was born, it was just literally like,
where's that moment?
So now what? Like that. I was like, literally, it was like, I had all this expectation of like, just having a revelation, and that did not happen for me. The bonding with my kid came much later, like back when we were at home and they started having their own smiling and all that stuff. But yeah, not the immediate tears.
What hit me was the responsibility that I have to keep this person alive. So like, I did not sleep the first night at all. I was just staring at him like, are you still breathing?
Yeah.
Good. Just the whole night.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Oh, sorry. I was going to keep it rolling, but all right, guys. Welcome back to another episode, listeners. Got on a little tangent there. Very good tangent. Really enjoyed that. I have a question for y'all. Get things started. It's a very good question. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Okay. Especially, I don't know about Ryan. Maybe Ryan. We'll see.
I feel like Ryan might have a bone to pick today.
Well, we did get comments. Ryan was a little quiet last episode. I don't know.
Super quiet.
Yeah. Sounds like
last episode, somebody had reached out to me in the week leading up to this one, saying that Ryan came off a little boring and salty.
Excuse me?
That's true. Actually, I got the same thing.
After we read the mailbag question, he kind of didn't seem like himself afterwards. So maybe he was deep in thought, wondering how he is giving away a secret.
That's true.
And he was kind of spicy during Steven's topic on the whole like throuple situation. He was just asking real pointed questions and saying like, "Hey, so Steven, when are you gonna quit? Huh? When are you gonna quit? Stop talking about it." Yeah.
I was actually very shocked because I thought he was gonna have a bone to pick with Angel, and he never did.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you not have a bone to pick with Angel?
You cannot predict the bone picking, Steven.
I feel like there was a lot of conversation about a certain episode that probably won't be released to the public.
It probably won't. For the listeners,
Angels say no more.
We record these
Angels
record these
say
episodes ahead of time.
no more.
He's sitting, waiting for his magnum opus to
say
come.
no more, Angel.
Ooh, I think we.
All right, we'll save it for later.
Are we gonna get it on? Are we gonna get it on?
No, I did have a bone to
That's
pick with Steven this week.
Oh, suddenly you do now? Yeah.
I did.
It's funny because last episode I talked about how a police officer asked me if people had been drinking in my beer, open container story. And I told the police officer, no one wasn't. And Ryan said absolutely nothing. However, in previous episodes, Ryan took a bone to pick with myself when I told him that his lottery ticket, which was fake, was indeed real. And he did not take the opportunity to jump on the double standard there that I was lying to a police officer. He just sat super quiet about that.
What a piece of shit.
It just seems like you're a liar.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, you're a lightweight.
But Steven saved himself today from my bone picking. I texted Steven the other day if he was going to slick back his hair this weekend. I was very upset that he never responded. And then he responded to a group chat before he responded to me, and I was very salty.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Well, I've been getting the same treatment. I called him like twice, and he never answered.
But before I could salt him, he texted me back about the slick back hair, so he saved himself.
You know what? I haven't been very good on my devices recently.
Do better.
It's something I need to work on, but I just feel like I don't want to look.
I've been participating.
Personally,
it's funny because Steven, deep down, I feel like you enjoy it. You like it.
I did, but I did a lot of behind the scenes work trying to prepare for the fantasy football season, and I feel like it burnt me out a little bit. And so like I've been trying to like recover my like energy for
It was noticeable. I
around
mean, this like video monologue you put together was like 8 minutes long, and it had a lot of editing, a lot of detail, a lot of narrative. My personal favorite was the Captain America scene when you did oh shit, things are sparking out. Like you did a lot of behind the scenes snap it. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I do my
like glass doesn't just crack. Steven goes, ooh, pss, pss, yeah.
Inside jokes. I'd like to be a part of one someday. All right, let's get started with the question. Okay, with recent news, actually, it's coming in and out, and no one really gives a fiddler's fuck on social media or anyone that I talk to. They really don't care. This question, and we're going to start in order. You guys are in order. Let me see. Yeah, you guys are in order now. The question is the topic: alien encounters. If aliens visited Earth, and apparently, according to the government, they are. You were chosen as the first point of contact. What would you show or tell them to represent the essence of humanity?
I was totally expecting Angel to say like, hey, last week we talked about your own personal island and how you were governing that. Give us an update. Let us know how your different tactics are panning out. How's the water slides coming, Ryan and Steve?
Mine's bigger, better, faster,
cheaper.
Yeah, my water slides were being built a little too big. They weren't meeting safety codes. Had some issues. We lost a few good men. Good news, there's more space at the orgies on Fridays and more pig. So I'm okay with it.
You know, I heard the right way to have an orgy is you have to have a good catered food. I hear that's the trick. Is that the right trick, Steven?
Good party has good catering?
Yeah, a good orgy has good catered food.
Yeah, you definitely need a good spread off to the side where people can collect themselves. Lots of bananas, potassium. You don't want to cramp up. You need Gatorade.
Gatorade.
Yeah, it's very important. Got to have the lube. Don't forget about the lube table.
Yeah, no. You know what? A good spread of lube. You need water based and oil based. You need to be diverse
and flavored.
And people email Steven saying that he's in the closet. I just don't get it.
A well-maintained penis requires no lube.
The fuck?
What are you fucking talking about, guys?
Explain yourself.
Last time I checked, my penis does not lube itself up.
Yeah, what? How does your dick work, dude? It lubes itself. No, the women.
Are
just wet.
He has so much pre-cum.
Yeah, it's like a slug. It just comes out of the pore.
A slug.
Yeah.
Like a hospital pump is just constantly coming up.
God, you're just turning on all of the horny females out there. listening to this podcast.
They're all horny. All right. Yeah. So let's go in order. Steven, you're first.
I am the point of contact. I need to show them something that represents our humanity.
The essence of human existence.
Oh God.
5 seconds.
I'll show them a picture of 9/11 towers burning.
Why?
Or plane flying into it. Because that is the essence of our human. We're fucking terrible people.
Oh.
I want them to leave. Just leave. We're not worth saving. Get the fuck out of here.
It's funny because I thought of mine, and then when I heard yours, I was like, "Oh, I'm going a different direction." But we ended with the same result though, which worked out great.
Oh, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna lie to them. You're gonna show them a picture of like Mother Teresa or like a bunch of people helping out like the hungry African kids. This is the essence of human nature, right? And they're gonna believe that. You're right. You're right.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna show a picture of him. I'm gonna show him a picture of Goatsy, man, of a dude just bent over, spreading open his asshole, like wide open for everybody to see.
Show him the $20.
The Goatsy.
Oh, you're changing your answer to Goatsy. Yeah. Christ.
Show him the video where the guy like sits down on the jar and it breaks in his butthole.
There you go.
Show him meatspin.com. What about Mr. Hands?
Oh, what's Mr. Hands?
Uniclaw, Washington, my friend.
Dude, somewhere in Washington, a dude was fucking horses and like videotaping it, and one of them penetrated him too deep, and he died of internal hemorrhaging. In the video, you see the horse's dick go inside him. He's like,
you hear everything. And you know what's funny is he was a Boeing engineer that was a regular customer, but his stallion was not available that day, so they gave him the most aggressive stallion that they had, and he was like, "Yeah, that's great. Just give me the biggest, most aggressive stallion," and fucked him to death.
It's an oddly specific amount of detail you got there, Angel.
Why do you know so much?
Yeah. I mean, I've watched the video, but this dude did a deep dive on his like background check or something.
You know, it's funny. I think at that era that came out, I don't know. I think it was like the early 2000s where the internet was still the Wild West. And I remember there was like 3 videos that people talked about, and they said like, "Oh, if you watch it, you can't unsee it." And this was one of them. And I kept thinking about it. I was like, well, everyone's watching. I should check it out. And I have never seen that video. And it's
not very graphic.
Oh,
it's kind of really dimly lit, like night vision-y. And that one's pretty fucked up. What are the other ones that are bad? Meat Spin was a big one. Two girls, one cup.
Two girls, one cup.
Although I'm not convinced that was actually poop. It looked a lot like
it was poop. It was poop and vomit.
It doesn't look like really real poop. Oh. I've never seen poop that looks like soft serve like that.
Chocolate mousse.
It looked like mousse.
That's I was true. All about the still images. Lemonparty.org.
What's Tub Girl?
I used to go to the Apple store on the regular and go to as many laptops as I could.
You're a menace,
party on Safari, and then just minimize it, and then like go off to the corner and wait for somebody to go in and like check their MySpace, and then it's like open up and just be shocked.
Dude, you are a fucking menace to society. Jesus. Dude, he's doing that and he's leaving poops in showers. Like, what is it? What don't we know about?
Right, honest question. You're in an Apple store. What is the most quantities of laptops in one Apple store that you did that on? Is it 10?
Probably at least like 5 to 10.
5 to 10.
I had a friend. I had a friend that worked at that Apple store. And he told me like in staff meetings they would talk about it. Like be on the lookout for this.
So
that's so good.
You ever got caught? You waited around to see people like open up the laptops?
Oh, yeah, it was hilarious because you'd see them freak out and like close it real quick. It was so funny.
Nobody saw the cameras to see like anyone like you giggling like in the corner like
cameras are after the fact. You put too much credit in cameras.
Maybe you saw like a little kid go up to
it. Oh yeah, that happened. The best of it was like old people going up to it. It's like you know that they like be so slow to react and just be like, oh my goodness.
Oh God.
Wait, so Ryan, from the people who did not search lemon party. What do you want to give a brief description of what that showed?
Yeah, what is that? I don't know what that is.
It was 3 older gentlemen enjoying a Friday night on at Stevens Island.
Ah, makes sense. So they were building better water slides.
They were lubing up the tubes, and all the holes,
or were they playing Gangster's Paradise, or whatever that game is that Steven plays?
Yeah, it's Grand Mafia actually. The Italians are waking up. They're saying buongiorno.
You serious?
See.
Well, they're actual Italians. I thought it was like.
No, yeah, they're Italians. They're from Italy.
Good. What was your answer? The Twin Towers or the Gooch? What was it?
If I had to show them what human beings are really like, I would show them some like picture of 9/11. That, like, if I'm being honest. Otherwise, if I was going to lie to them, I'd show them a picture of like, I don't know. I can't even think of one good thing that people would be taking pictures of.
You're just. Thank you, Stephen. All right, Ryan, you're up next. What are you showing these alien life forms?
So I'm quite the opposite of Stephen. I find our world to be a beautiful place. And what I would do with these aliens, I would sit down in their lobby or their dining room, wherever they want to have a conversation. And I would pull out The Great Gatsby and I'd read it to them. So they'd be able to see all the beautiful, all the evil, all the neutral, all the emotions that humans are possessed and everything we're capable of. True love, infidelity, art, passion, desire, betrayal. All of it's in there.
Motherfucker, you say show a picture.
No.
Did they show a picture?
Read him a
I didn't. I said tell them to represent.
Oh.
Okay, I'll read it again. If aliens visited Earth and you were chosen as the first point of contact, what would you show or tell them to represent the essence of humanity?
Yeah.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Steven, you can't.
You already answered,
again.
and you said, "Yeah."
No,
Bigger, better, water
I thought it
slide.
was. I had to show him a picture.
You can't have all the bears. Okay,
you gotta
can't be
pay
all the bears.
attention to these things, Steven, and stop regretting it when it moves on to the next slide.
Bears beat Battlestar Galactica.
There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. That's the point of the exercise. There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, I stick by my answer.
As do I.
Very good. Very good. All right. I remember reading that in 8th grade. Thank you, Ryan. Now let's move on to Chris. Chris, what would you show or tell these aliens?
So as I'm listening to Steven's, like I was when Steven was going to go first, I was like, I know exactly what Steven's going to say, and it's actually going to be really close to what I'm thinking. And then Steven says the 9/11 Twin Towers, and I was like, oh, that's not where I thought it was going. And then Ryan says the Great Gatsby, and I was like, ooh, that's also kind of not what I was thinking. The item I was thinking is the essence of humanity. And what it's going to be is it's going to involve tequila, because I think that is very human essence. But what it would be is it'd be with a chick, and so she would have salt on one boob, limes on another boob, and then she would have the tequila on her body for the complete body shots.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that would be my essence of mankind, because I think on a very primitive level, I think the guys and girls chasing each other is really what's making the world go round.
I'd make them play a game of Monopoly.
Holy shit. But I'm going to scratch that off the record.
I'm the best
Steve.
at Monopoly.
But that was a very good answer.
Try to make me look fake.
I've never lost at Monopoly.
All right, Chris.
It's because you never played.
Except for one time, I was playing Monopoly at a Denny's.
At a Denny's?
We're playing Monopoly at a Denny's.
How long?
So which is it? Did you win or lose?
I lost because the game was going for so long.
Okay.
There was probably like 4 or 5 of us there, and it was like probably 2 a.m. And there was 2 of us left, and we decided, let's end this. So we had a cup in the middle of the table, and we just started putting like old, like leftover food in there, napkins and whatnot. And they're like, all right, whoever drinks the most of this cup wins. So I let the other person go first, and they chugged it. And I said, all right, you win. I don't care. I'm not drinking it.
Well played. Well played.
So it wasn't like a legit loss. All right.
It was a forfeit.
Very good. No, great. Great answers. Those are beautiful answers. You know what I would tell them?
The fuck off.
Yeah, basically. No.
Don't rip my face off. I live in Peru.
Is that from another book in eighth grade reading?
Have you not heard about the aliens in Peru that are ripping off faces?
No. Actually, yes.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
You should ask him to join Grand Mafia. Look for Lord Steph.
It's not my name anymore, Chris. I'm now Wonder Boy.
Oh my god.
Wonder Boy.
Listeners, go ahead and look him up. Send your messages to him. All the love, all the gay love. I would give them a musical introduction, if I'm honest. I would probably tell them, before we dive into discussions, might I introduce you to our finest earthly creation, music?
Never gonna let you go.
We have a thing called we have a thing called Baby Shark. It's so popular, it's basically our anthem.
I thought you were gonna go with like Scatman or Rick Roll.
I'm the Scat Man. No, that's too obvious. You got to go with the. Got to pander to the audience. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your answers, which will be etched into time, and I'll be sure to call upon you if we are ever visited or we ever see a picture of these extraterrestrials. So, let's go ahead and jump on over to the wheel.
I spin your fucking wheel, Angel.
How dare you talk to me that way? I'm gonna regret
Yes.
Tonight that I will fall in love with you over again.
Chris is vibing. All right, here we go.
Oh, baby puke yellow.
Oh, fuck. I forgot I got to share shit.
All right, Angel's topic.
Hey.
Sunshine.
Okay, guys. Here's my topic. Charisma. How you feel about it?
Think about water.
Hosting. Egos. Lego my ego or cinnamon toast my ego?
All right. Thank you, Angel, for all your input. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel again.
What? What are you talking about? You didn't say anything.
Yeah. I said everything already. Did you forget? Did you time skip? No, this time it's going to be about insecurity. It's going to be about insecurity. Webster's Dictionary.
Never met him. I hear someone pissing. Chris brought his Bluetooth with him.
Sounds like a shower.
He's got his headset on. Chris, you have your headset on. Does he?
Oh yeah, he does. I can hear every last little drip. What if he's like,
too.
Oh yeah. Damn, that's a long stream, dude.
He had a lot of wine. But if he had his headset on, that means he can hear us.
I know.
Dude, if I was wine drunk right now, that would feel so good.
It'd be great, right?
I haven't never done a podcast drunk. I'm gonna get drunk next time we do the podcast. It's gonna be the best podcast. I don't drink on weekdays. I don't either.
Well, we gotta do a weekend where we record in person, and then we'll do wine drunk podcast.
Oh baby,
yeah,
that could be fun.
Steven or Chris, we heard every last drop.
It was a lot.
Great technique.
I go for the teacup pour, right? It's like doing the high dive. Less of a splash is a better pour.
I don't have the mental acuity to imagine what you just said. So I appreciate that. We're going to be talking. Did you hear what we were going to be talking about?
Oh, that was really your topic?
Insecurity, yes.
Wow.
And because I don't know if I've shared with you guys, in my firm, I've moved departments completely. I went from the subject matter expert of over a decade of experience into the new guy who has to learn everything from scratch. And it sucks. I hate being the new guy. I like going back and being like, I have every single answer. I don't have any of the answers. I have to put up with people and my patient and like not put up. They have to put up with me. Like they have to be patient, and people aren't very patient, as it turns out. So it kind of sucks, but it's part of some of the insecurities in the past. Before I learned what this insecurity was, and there's different kind of types we're going to go through, but it was imposter syndrome. So I had imposter syndrome a lot early in my career, and recently really bad, but imposter syndrome. So I'm gonna give the meaning as it is of insecurity, and then talk through a couple of examples, and then hopefully we can open up to discussion. So the meaning of insecurity is basically can be defined as a feeling of uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, or a lack of confidence in one's abilities, looks, or relationships. It can manifest as self-doubt, fear of rejection, or a sense of vulnerability. While everyone experiences insecurity from time to time, chronic feelings of insecurity can be debilitating and can hinder personal growth and ability to form healthy relationships. We all experience the feeling and comes out in different ways. Like I said, I know I do. What was that? Did you hear the thunder?
No.
Na, 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 na. Thunder.
Probably the aliens.
Dude.
We didn't even touch on. Oh, well, I don't know.
I saw something walk by your window, Angel.
Is your door
Shut
cracked?
the fuck up, man.
They're supposed to, maybe the hurricane's here
No.
already.
No. Yeah, by the time of this recording, it's coming up Mexico's ass. So, what is that? Hurricane Hillary?
Like a tequila shot?
Leave it to a hurricane named Hillary to be a bitch.
How many of you guys are fucking with me? You don't hear that? No, you
I
guys are
saw
fucking
it
with me.
walk by your window.
Shut up, dude. No, one of you guys are
I
fucking
can
with me.
barely hear what Ryan say.
You need a picture of 9/11?
God damn it. What does that say, Ryan? What does your name say? Stiff Jacks Trannies?
How do I see people's names?
You hover over there.
What the fuck? Yeah, you hover over their name.
Oh, yeah.
Over their thing. Yeah. You're
Guys,
Ass Muncher 5000. Let us
And speaking of insecurity, I'm very insecure that you're making fun of me for talking to trans.
Stiff Trannies. What the fuck, Chris? I'm just awesome. Okay. Let's go back to insecurities. Okay. Let's just jump through this real quick. Professional insecurity, physical insecurity, relational insecurity, intellectual insecurity, social insecurity, open-end, and I have some open-ended questions. I'm reading my notes. Okay. One of you guys are doing
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it's in my house.
One of us is insecure?
I think it's Ryan.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think it's Ryan.
Nope.
It's not me. There's rain. Hold on.
It's probably your fan.
Do I have a window open?
You have a window fan. You could hear
You
everything
have two
outside.
fans.
I know. I just took my headphones off and it's not here. You guys are dicks, man. All right, whatever. I'm just going to ignore it.
Premium podcast content.
Anyways, it's about insecurity. And yeah, that's what I've been experiencing lately. It just fucking sucks. It just fucking sucks because I'm the new guy. You guys are basically like just so advanced in you guys have never had that experience, huh? You guys are basically like, you're all just project managers and just sales managers, right?
Well, I have tons of job insecurity, just manifest in a different way than yours.
Like, what do you mean?
I don't actually know anything that I'm like imposter syndrome-esque. Like I'm very good for my specific niche, but like in general, in construction or contracting as a whole, I don't feel like I know enough to do something different, you know, if I had to or wanted to. So I'm insecure about my abilities in that respect. Did you catch that, Angel?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay.
Seriously, who is that?
Pretty sure it's your fan, Angel.
It's so no. Fuck you, Ryan.
I can hear.
God damn it!
Doing nothing.
This is so distracting.
I don't hear anything, but then
It's
I would
Ryan.
be hearing
I
it
know
too.
it's fucking Ryan. It's either Ryan or Chris.
But I would be hearing it too.
That's true.
I'm just sitting here.
But it doesn't sound like raindrops and fucking thunder.
Raindrops, drop tops.
It went away.
Chicken the crap the crap top.
It's Ryan. Look at his fucking face. Look at that smile.
I didn't do anything.
It's like I'm the old man waiting to see old fuckers in the apple store.
I have had plenty of insecurity as well. I've been to multiple branches in my position. Every time I have to earn the trust of a different team to A, respect my knowledge, B, respect what I'm trying to get them to do, and C, have them trust me enough to come to me for whenever they need help with anything. And these are seasoned people who've been doing it for many years, some of them more than me, and I have to earn their respect as their manager. So that takes a lot of time and trust on both ends.
Thank you, Ryan. That was well said and well put. By the way, I found the source of the thunder, and it's me. So I'm gonna close that.
He was probably listening to like rain sounds to help you fall asleep on YouTube.
Okay.
No,
I demand an apology.
I apologize, Ryan. That was my bad. I had Minecraft open in the back.
Not surprising.
And there was a thunderstorm going on. And I didn't realize until the music started that I turned over and it just finished raining. So, God, that's fucking embarrassing. No, yeah. So there was, when I switched over to the job I had before, I was dealing with people in the industry like 20, 25 years. And I was very new to the position. And I told them, you know, I tried to cover up that I knew more than I thought. And I started using a phrase that I heard before, and I didn't know what it meant until now. The guy I told it to knew what it meant, and that phrase was, it's a competitive advantage. And thinking back, I feel super fucking stupid because it was basically how we calculate water. Like a lot of, if you're not familiar with the industry, refiners and oil, you don't purchase water, right? You purchase the oil. So if it's coming out of the ground, and if there's water in the oil, then you don't buy it. You don't pay for it. So measurement of the water is very important. It also has to do with how we balance product crude going in and products coming out. At the time, I thought it was unique that we calculated out water because it was the extra step. So I told him that we needed the extra results because it kept a competitive advantage. It gave us a competitive advantage. And then after the fact, I realized felt very stupid about it. But I think back and I'm like, this guy, I wonder what he was thinking. Like this fucking greenhorn telling him that, you owe me these results and this is the reason. And I've had people come to me and tell me that. And it's like, I recognize it and I try to be nice about it. But in my new role, I can tell people get impatient and it just fucking sucks. So yeah, I just wanted to share that story that was that professional insecurity.
So how are you using that term wrong? You thought that knowing how much water was in your oil so you didn't have to spend as much money on the oil gave you a competitive advantage. Isn't that using the term correctly?
I thought it did, but it turns out competitive advantage is a competitive advantage versus your competitors, versus there's like 5 metrics. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but if is it unique? Are people using it? Do people have access to that information? And they totally can. Like the supplier has access to that, and anyone who is working with the contractor has access to that information. So it wasn't technically a competitive advantage, and it wasn't providing value to the firm doing that, because
I would think if a tanker is coming over and it's 95% oil and it's 5% water, and you identify that and say, hey, FYI, I'm only paying for the 95%. I'm not paying for the 100% for this. That would make your cost per oil go down. So it sounds like it would give you an advantage, wouldn't it?
That's what I was thinking.
It would. And you guys are correct, but I guess I wasn't specific in the request I was asking for. It was for the mass balance itself. I told him that the competitive advantage it gave us was ensuring that our mass balance was whole, and it's irrelevant because the mass balance technically isn't a financial. It doesn't have any financial impact. It's just making sure that we capture all the barrels.
I have a story related to this. One, like talking about being new and trying to talk out your ass and people thinking you're probably dumb. Well, anyways, in my industry, we do concrete work, and I'm always, when I first started, I was just only tasked with finding new work. So I would get a bunch of plans and bid a bunch of these concrete scopes to different general contractors. And this one time I was bidding a shopping center in Chino Hills or somewhere, and I submitted a bid. It was competitive. The guy calls me, wants to kind of feel me out because he doesn't really know me from anybody else. So he calls me. He's like, hey, I received your bid. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about it and all this stuff, whatever. So I'm like, sure. I'm talking to him for a while about this and that. And at some point he goes, well, to be honest with you, we usually just go with quality first, And I'm like, well, we have really good quality. Like, I get calls all the time that our quality is really, really good. And he's like, no, I meant quality first. The big concrete company that everybody knows about.
Oh no!
I was like, fuck! I feel like such a dumbass. Like, I didn't end up getting that job.
Of course, they always go with quality first.
Yeah. But I feel like
I did get a job with them later on, but yeah.
The way he phrased that question was kind of dumb, though. Like, that's not 100% your fault. We usually start with quality. Like,
yeah. I can imagine making that misunderstanding as well. And I thank you for sharing that story, Stephen, because it's like, after the fact, like, Jesus Christ, like, I can't believe, like, I don't know my competitors as well as I.
I don't think it's hard. Like in construction, you don't really get to know a lot about your competitors. Like, people are very secretive unless you know somebody that can give you inside information. Like everything's like, I don't know what other people price concrete at. I just don't. Like, I really don't know where their prices are at. So I'm usually just bidding at what I can do it for, and it seems to work. And if people drop hints along the way, like, man, you're really cheap, we love using your number, I'm like, oh, okay. Jack that up, mental note, and then vice versa when you're like really high.
The ironic part is that's really what they want, though. They want because for Steven's aspect, I'm the one that hey Steven, can I get some numbers from you on some concrete work? But it's this is what I can do it for. We love to hear that, because what we hate to hear is this is much this is much less than I can actually do it for. Like that becomes a problem, and I've had that on projects before. Yeah, I gave you a number, but I can't really stand behind that number. But I went to market with your number. That's what I'm contracted to. Oh yeah, that's going to be a problem because my bid was totally incomplete. And then you get in a tight spot.
Yeah, there's definitely less of that in my life now. Like whenever I bid work, being more like seasoned, when I get to the contract negotiations, I don't have so much of people trying to just like give me a contract knowing I'm missing a lot of scope or incomplete. It's a lot more discussions now. We're like, hey, let's talk about the scope, make sure everything's dialed in. I think maybe that's just how the industry has changed. Like, I would never get a call from Chris 10 years ago. Hey, well, did you see this on this page? Or did you pick up this? Are you covering this scope? I would just get a contract that says, you're doing all exterior concrete.
You got it.
That's it. And I don't just get a lot of that anymore. But it's probably because a lot of the contractors get fucked by subs that are like, well, I never bid that, I'm not doing it. And it turns into like a legal thing, or it turns into like, I have to replace you and I can't go legal on it because the contract doesn't justify any sort of legal methods. It's different now.
I think in the olden days, it was just whoever could yell the loudest. So they would just yell at Steven straight and say, look, you got it. And that's the end of it. Nowadays, it's like, Steven, you got it. And he's like, well, no, I physically don't have enough money to finish this project. And it's not just me, but the ready mix companies are going to come after, they're not going to come after Steven, they're going to come after the general contractor. So I think the general contractor is starting to realize that having if you look at a quote and there's a blazing hole there, you can't just get away with not addressing that hole. Now you actually want to make sure, hey, I talked to him, I emailed it, I wrote it down that he's got all these things. And then you can you can take that to the lawyers. But if the lawyer says, oh, you picked something that you knew was a problem and you're surprised that they couldn't finish the job and you're surprised that all the competitors leaned you all of a sudden, everyone's just realizing that.
Yeah.
And as far as my story of insecurity is, I think I was a year or two into my company, and we were going through some scopes, and we were preparing scopes and saying, hey, subs, we want you to bid these scopes we typed out. And so one of the scopes was, you got the shims. And during this, shim, SHIMS, you got the shims. And so I looked up and I said, what's a shim? I don't recognize that word. I haven't come across it in life. And I remember that person looked at me with utter disbelief and had to leave the room.
Whoa.
Like, what, are you kidding me, right? I can't even talk to you right now, and left. And I was like, ooh, that didn't look good. And I think my job may have been on the line. I'm not quite sure or not, but I surprisingly survived. And I found out that basically a shim is that little wood piece that holds your door open, and you use it to like do other stuff. I was like, oh, I know what that is. I didn't know that's what it was called, but it was ironic that item that I didn't know almost lost it all for me.
The door wedge.
Yeah. You actually bring up a really good point.
That's what I do,
Chris. It's it's the when someone doesn't know something and the reaction people have to it. I'll say this, I before I would have felt the same way, but actually having learned
he had to go check in with the mothership.
What? How dare he? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's got to send his report. So.
Shims.
Okay. Shims, right. So the knowledge that I that people don't have in their reaction to it, I'm actually dealing with right now. So my former boss, she's actually moved into a different section. She spent a good 10 minutes on all the training that I needed to do, right? That she passed along a bunch of stuff. She moved on to a new position as like global director. Good for her. But I thought I was going to remember, and I didn't. And there's a bunch of new reports that she's like, well, I thought we run over this. I'm like, I have no idea. And her reaction is basically just not ideal. And when I speak to my current manager, he has complete understanding. And I see there's emotional intelligence that comes with that. And you learn and you recognize, hey, considering the circumstances, the guy who left the room was probably an overreaction. I don't know if that's
it was
unique to your industry, but if it was. So yeah, same here. If the person left the room in my industry, the people, they would look at him like, you're a freaking psycho,
Yeah,
So,
I think it's. I think in that certain item, it was that person was so knowledgeable of the industry that it was, like if you had to scale him on a grade of 0 to 100, he was like a 99 or a 105. So, and just anybody who didn't meet that level was what do you mean you're not at the same level as I was? So I think that was just kind of his view on things. But I think it comes on the other side too, like I always think about college, and this comes from the guy who I got a bachelor's. I did not get a very high grade in that bachelor's, and I did not chase a master's. But when I talk to people, I was like, "What's the point of college?" And a lot of people go like, "Oh, you want to get really knowledgeable in a certain field. You want to get book smart." And I would actually disagree with that. I would say, like if you put everyone into a bucket and you said, you know what college does is it teaches you problem solving. No matter what major you're in, there's an issue. There's a test that you need. The issue is you need to pass this test to get a good grade. So you need to figure out how to pass that test. Or if you're going to write a dissertation paper for your master's degree, you need to figure out how to write a good dissertation paper. And especially coming from the engineering side, is my professors kept reinforcing. They said, "Look, this isn't we're not going off like chemistry or physics, where a lot of things you just have to or actually maybe not physics, but mathematics. The trick was you had to memorize the formula." In all of my engineering classes, they said, "We'll give you the formula, because at the end of the day, I don't need you to memorize a formula. I need you to know where to go find the formula and how to use the formula properly." So a lot of our tests showed the formula you're supposed to use, but the hardcore trick was if you did not know how to use that formula, it completely showed. Like you couldn't just guess your way through how that formula is going to interact. So the idea was they wanted to train you how to know where to look for your answers and how to use your answers properly. So that, in a nutshell, is how I viewed college. So when you have a lot of college educated people, I think it just taught you how to problem solve. Yeah, you picked up some knowledge along the way. You kind of learned out some things, but I think the problem solving was the core value. So when I have a lot of people come into the industry, I go, okay, problem solving, you're probably decent at it. Do you have raw knowledge? Have you been doing this since you were 12 or 14 and you know what shims are? You probably don't. And I tell people that shim story all the time. Like everyone in my office knows about the shim story, because I want to make a point of, you're not going to know the little inflections, or a lot of these things are like real minuscule, like on a plan, you'll see RCP pipe, and people's like, "Oh, what's RCP pipe?" I was like, "It's reinforced concrete pipe. Like it's not a brain buster. Just if you just Google RCP pipe, you'll be like, oh, reinforced concrete pipe. Okay, oh, that makes sense. I don't need you to memorize that stuff. I need you to know how to properly identify it and figure it out. So when you have that,
that was well said. And I think that was a very good realization you got in your early college career, because that didn't occur to me until much later. You're right. They're teaching you to be problem solvers, because the information is readily available, and figuring stuff out like that is, they don't want you to memorize stuff like that. It's basically solving problems. Chris, you said it fantastically, and I can tell you have a very high emotional EQ,
emotional intelligence.
through the roof.
I scored pretty high in that,
which makes you a phenomenal manager, and I can see that.
On the other side, well, thank you, by the way. But on the other side, you also have the Peter Principle, which is the opposite of what you're talking about, the insecurities. Have you heard of the Peter Principle before?
I have not.
Perfect. See, you don't need to memorize it because I'm here to tell you, and you can always Google the Peter Principle. So the Peter Principle, which is funny because there's probably
whoa, hey Steven, you take that Nutter Butter out of your mouth. You fucking pig.
Oh, please.
No, it's midnight, Steven. Spit out the Nutter Butter.
Angel, please make that a sound bite at the end of the episode. That's going to be fantastic.
Spit out the nut. That's it.
Frozen, so I'm not listening to anything.
That's right.
Yeah, your picture is frozen.
So does Steven or Ryan, do you guys recognize the term Peter Principle as it refers to someone's knowledge?
Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Peter Principle.
So the Peter Principle is the and I think it probably comes from the Bible, but it's the concept of you are promoted beyond your abilities. So let's say let's take me for example. I am just a simple project manager at my work, but if I was promoted to CEO all of a sudden, I would be way in over my head. I wouldn't know the inner workings of that. And it's the place that I see it a lot, or we talk about it a lot, and I'm not sure if it really happens in real life, but we always make fun that it happens at city workers. Like my wife, for example, she works at a local city. And in there, you have people that they kind of make their way up the rank. And she's telling me these stories of, well, this is how they told us to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Why are you processing the report that way? Or why are you doing it that way? And she's like, no one knows. Everyone just says, this is the way we were doing it. And I was realizing that just no one knew how to do it properly. So they always fell back on how the last person did it. And I think that's an example of someone got promoted so high that they didn't know how that actual process or sequence needs to be run. So they took a guess at it, and that guess has been carried on through the ages of that. So it's like the opposite. If you're like, hey, I lack confidence in my ability because I don't know this new stuff. The other concept is I'm in this new position and I truly don't know, and I really shouldn't know what's going on right now. So I'm just going to try and like fake it till I make it,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of people run into that issue and are afraid to ask the question, because there's that imposter syndrome, right? I should know exactly what I need to be doing. And everyone assumes that I have it just because I took the title on. Doing things just because they were done before, going on that topic, that's immediately throws a red flag up, because that starts asking the question, wait a minute, just because you've done it in the past doesn't mean it's necessary,
Yeah, I would much rather someone know the process and point that out and say, you know what, this doesn't look right. I feel like we're not processing this properly. Let's talk about it on why it's there.
Yeah. And that, I think that digs into culture as well, as people being comfortable talking about it and asking it. And if people are like, I don't know, I don't want to be raised, causing waves or questioning, then I think that's a red flag as well.
I would
just don't be that person that just pretends like they know everything and they just stay quiet and they don't ask questions and they fuck up something really bad. I'll just be the first person to just be like, yeah, show me that.
Yeah.
But don't be the person that takes 5 times. Like, I've shown you how to do this 5 times, dude. I can't fucking help you anymore.
That's where it's a problem. If the guy just says, hey, in all honesty, I don't know what a forecast is. Oh, okay. Well, this is what a forecast is, and this is why it's important. I figure once you do that short explanation, they should see the light, and the problem solving should kick in and say, okay, that makes sense. I see the big picture. I'm going to dig deeper into this to make sure I understand it and keep going. And then you're good to go. But like to Steven's point, if you keep telling them and keep explaining it and they're just not getting it, then it's a problem.
That's a red flag, yeah.
Big time red flag.
Hey guys, I appreciate the input. That's my topic, is basically insecurities. It shifted more to the professional side, and that's actually a problem I'm dealing with today. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Yeah. Are we going to have non-professional insecurities on a later topic?
I have a very big insecurity I'd like to talk about.
I'd like to hear it, Ryan.
Let's hear it.
Sometimes I'm very shameful that my penis is too big.
Oh, that's a big problem, I know.
I think you should actually share it on stream so we can verify that it's actually that big.
His video's frozen.
He's probably showing it right now.
Probably.
Yeah, it's right here. Look, slap, slap.
Oh, it just
Is that
came
what that
unfro-
sound is?
It's like a goddamn baby arm.
Baby holding an apple. And with that, let's go ahead and spin the wheel one more time. I think we have...
I totally think you have enough room on a future topic to talk about non-professional insecurities. Because once you said it, I was like, we didn't talk about anything outside of our work being.
Oh yeah, get a bunch of men to talk about their real insecurities.
Yeah.
That's gonna go over.
There we go.
Spin your fucking wheel.
There it comes.
Funny about that work thing, dude. I learned almost everything I learned by just falling on my face 100 times.
Yeah. That's typically like the best teacher.
But you learn the first time.
Oh, look, it's me.
Not to make that mistake again.
Exactly. Ryan, what'd you bring the CoinOp-ians today, sir?
So
unfreeze your video, goddammit.
I don't know how.
Hide it and unhide it. Angel, are we also going to talk about mail this episode?
Oh my God! Yes,
You got any
absolutely.
comments?
Before Ryan goes,
Before Ryan goes,
go to my settings and hit hide yourself.
Yeah,
and then
I
unhide
did.
yourself.
go to
Do it again.
twogirls1cup.com.
Lemon
Can
party.
he exit and come back, or is that going to fuck up
He's
everything?
been doing it already.
It'll fuck up the recording, but do it because I can't see your face. You got a weird frozen picture,
Yeah.
and
It's a bad
it's
shot.
killing my boner. So,
It's a major boner cone.
all right. So we're going to start off with a friend of the podcast. You all know him. You all love him. Very fact based and very close to this podcast. Bob Observer comments on one of our
Bob Observer.
Bob Observer. Yeah, he said hearing about Jackass made me think of when they were on Shark Week a couple of weeks ago. It took jumping the shark quite literally. Thank goodness that safety diver was at the ready. So
I like it.
he was commenting. Yeah, he was commenting on when we were discussing humor and Jackass came up. So thank you so much, Bob, for commenting. We love hearing from you, and you always have very insightful comments to provide. So thank you.
He just says it how it is. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have one for Chris. Chris, are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Actually, this is a very positive one. I was
surprised me
taken
too.
We get mixed bags with Chris. I'm going to bring one of the latest ones. So his decisions were made. And this one's about your David and Goliath narrative. Thoroughly enjoyed the unique spin on David and Goliath narrative on your podcast. It's refreshing to hear a perspective that challenges traditional interpretations and compels us to think historical tales. Your exploration of David as a bully provides an intriguing counter narrative that underscores the complexity and multidimensionality of historical figures. Whoa, fucking thesaurus on this fucker. Kudos for such thought-provoking content. And that was from listener. Oh shoot, hold on, I missed it.
Am I moving?
No.
His screen froze again.
I have an Oculus on half the time. Are you frozen again?
Oh my God, he's
I know.
frozen.
I know exactly who that listener was, Angel. And I just want to give a
How
quick
those-
shout out to
how
say,
those
thanks,
Nutter
Mom.
Butters taste, you
Appreciate
fat
it.
fuck.
That was no. That was spinning wheels. So thank you, spinning wheels.
You know my personal favorite part of that episode is the point that I said, "Hey Ryan, tell me what I'm going to talk about," and he told me, and I said, "You're wrong." I so thoroughly
That was my
enjoyed
favorite
hearing
part
that.
as well.
Yeah.
I had that on
What
loop. I was almost the
other
end.
segments did not make the cut? When we cut out Ryan's. Did you just cut out Ryan's, or did we not do a whole?
Well,
This is true. You've been
so
pretty safe.
Steven, the one where you're in the doctor's office and you were looking at a magazine, that one. I can't remember what my segment was.
The Mad Lib.
Oh my!
I don't want to ruin it for you, bro.
know.
There's still time. We can salvage
put that
that.
into another
You
one.
voted
Yeah,
yes
there
for
you
the
go.
gas
I'll
tax.
probably cut it
Steven.
up and
Just
put
cut
it
Ryan's out.
Yeah.
That means I just have to do it again. No, it's not as fun the second time. It was organic.
Could be.
Yeah, I was going to challenge Ryan to try his episode that didn't record very well and just go for it again to see how it goes.
Well, Ryan's fucking up.
I think if you say it with feeling, it would make all the difference.
I have been told to not talk about it. So that's the mail for this week. Listeners, go ahead and send in your emails.
How those Nutter Butters taste, you fat fuck.
It's so good. I'm up so late. I'm getting fucking hungry, dude. I don't want to make a full ass meal.
You know, I feel like Angel's not involved with the government. I feel like Steven kind of hates the government. I have a feeling it's going to be me. But I also am not a big fan of the government. Is there a fifth CoinOp-ian that we're not aware of? But also, I think Ryan very rarely has bones to pick with me, so I feel like I'm a safe.
This is true. You've been pretty safe.
Yeah, so I feel like Ryan's got a lot of bones to pick with Angel, and Steven, you're just like surprised when there's not a bone to be picked there. So yeah, but Steven did vote yes for the gas tax, so you know
you voted yes for the gas tax, Steven.
Yeah, because yes actually.
What the fuck, dude? Did you really?
Remember, if you voted yes,
insane, man.
Remember they worded it all crazy. It was like vote yes to repeal it or no to keep it, and so everybody voted no on it, and it kept it.
Dude, you have no idea how much backlash we're fucking getting.
I
price
voted.
Gouging. That's what we're getting. Price gouging. We're getting called price gouging. The market sets the price.
I voted to get rid of it.
It's called price gouging. We got fined $13 million last month, and we're getting fined $5 million for no fucking reason.
Lower your prices.
Because the government
lower your prices.
Raping the earth.
The market sets the price. We don't do shit.
You know what? Last week in Chris's story, the man who held down the guy who got beat up is just as guilty as the dudes doing the beating up. You might be just refining the oil, but you're just a part of the raping the earth, man.
You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Also, Chris, can you Google Shell Oil's quarterly profits from the last 2 years?
Shell's turned into similar. Their model is similar to Trafigura, where they are basically a trading company. They don't refine much anymore.
CoinOp-ians, I think Angel's having a brain aneurysm, just trying to contemplate
I basically am. I need to calm down.
Stupid I am on this subject.
Before Angel has an aneurysm, let me reveal who my bone to pick is.
So Steven, Shell dropped to $5 billion in profits. So they were up at maybe $8 billion, and now they're at $5 billion. What did you say about billionaires?
That's a damn dirty shame.
Yeah, fuck 'em.
Anyway.
got real quiet.
Let Ryan.
Yeah, you're right. We're still at Ryan's shine right now.
Don't forget when the ship busted the pipeline a year ago, and everyone just stopped talking about it for some reason.
Was that the Gulf or the one through the Dakotas?
That was in the Pacific. Anyway, I have a bone to pick.
Shell Valdez.
And it's convenient that we're talking about the cover up of oil, because my bone to pick is with the government, and how it has infiltrated the CoinOp-ians and caused Angel to censor our podcast.
Ooh. I knew it.
Can't wait to hear how you spin this one.
You see, CoinOp-ians, about a month ago.
There was an important episode.
About a month ago, I revealed the truth about a woman that was on a plane and freaked out. And oh
my God! Why does your microphone all of a sudden sound so loud? I
use the same microphone every week. I talk at the same volume every week. I don't turn any knobs any week. But Angel says you could not understand what I was saying. I ruined the podcast.
I provided proof
because I revealed the truth that a woman on a plane saw a shapeshifter and warned everybody, and the whole media has deemed this woman crazy. There's been a plethora of updates that I'm going to revisit this topic today because there's been a plethora of updates.
Now, for the listener, this was about almost 2 months ago.
Plethora, tomato.
Have you never seen The Three Amigos? I don't know, Guapo, would you say I have a plethora of armed men?
Steven, I'm an English major. I have a degree in the art of English.
That doesn't help.
Do not question.
Do not question. How dare you?
You must have taken a plethora of classes.
Him and Sandra Bullock.
I graduated with honors.
Jesus.
Okay. No, anyway.
Oh, okay.
See, several months ago, a 30-year-old woman freaked out on a plane, screaming that the person next to her was not real. And she was escorted off the plane. They deboarded the plane, investigated the plane, and then put everybody back on. And the plane left without incident. And the woman vanished, Angel.
How did she vanish? She owns a marketing firm.
We'll get to that.
We started a marketing firm.
We'll get to that, Christopher.
Spoilers.
The internet was in a tizzy trying to discover who this woman is for at least a month. And nothing ever really came out. Then about a month later, it was revealed that this woman's name was Tiffany Gomas, an up-and-coming star, lives in a multi-million-dollar home in Texas, and runs a marketing firm. Very impressive, right? Yeah.
Very.
And then 2 weeks ago, she came out and had an apology video saying that she earned the hate that she got, and now she's running like an anti-cyberbully campaign to raise money. But she never really talked too much about the incident, just that she's embarrassed. Have you seen these videos, Angel? This Tiffany Gomas.
Every time Tiffany Gomez Gomez, how is her name pronounced?
Gomez.
Okay. Every time it comes up, it's a meme. So I stopped watching her videos.
No,
because I understand that what she saw was actually not human, and I believe it.
You believe it?
Yes.
That was our consensus at the end of the episode, that something weird happened, and then the government silenced us because we must be onto the truth. But she came out and apologized for all of her actions and said it was all warranted. Steven, have you seen the apology video?
It didn't look like her. That the one that looks like super like filtered with eyelashes.
It looks strange, right, Steven? It looks strange.
I saw a video of her outside the airport getting recorded by somebody or something.
Since the apology video has come out, I've seen multiple body cam videos from the police officers recording the event, and one of them had her recording the police officer, but she never released it, which is very interesting to me. And she does sound much more intoxicated in these recently leaked videos where she's talking to the police officers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, the police officer asks what happened, and she does talk about the headphones being stolen, but says that the guy was strange. And it kind of just stopped there. It didn't really elaborate. But to go back to the apology video, it does look strange. And I watched a video yesterday where a gentleman took an AI algorithm and compared it to the video, and it does not match in any way, shape, or form. It was like 100% off in that it was not her. People have been comparing like a tattoo on the forearm that disappeared. I think the apology video is fake and a cover-up for what she saw on that plane.
Who released the apology video? Was it her account?
It was her account.
What was she apologizing for?
She was just apologizing for her actions and talking about how her life has been kind of miserable since then because of cyberbullying. And now she's running like a charity campaign to raise awareness for cyberbullying.
That doesn't make sense.
So the comments were turned off. The original video had the like and dislike, but her apology video did not have any of those options. It was just out there. Very odd.
That's weird. It's
very strange.
Gosh, she does look different.
Like, it looks similar. Like, at first glance, it does look similar, but it's just off.
I think you're onto something, Ryan.
I think so. I hope this episode doesn't get censored.
I don't think it will.
Gosh, why is her eyebrows are so much thicker? Whoa, her eyebrows are way thicker in the apology video. Like, way, way thicker. I mean, I don't know, maybe they could have been drawn on, but...
And in the original airplane video, she has like a forearm tattoo, and people have pointed out that the tattoo is missing in a recent video that surfaced, because there's a few. She got interviewed and whatnot outside the home, and it looks very similar to her, but I don't believe it is her. I think it's a cover-up.
When I saw it, I said it doesn't look like her at all.
Do we need to give the listeners any kind of background for this conversation?
I feel like it's pretty common knowledge because it's all over the meme sites.
But that's my point. Did we verbalize what the initial story was, or did we just start talking about it? Yeah.
We just started talking about it.
No, we talked about it. The lady on the plane freaking out. We talked about all that.
All right. Just post it on our Instagram page. So you know, Ryan, it's funny you say that on a low key off topic that I'll try and keep it real brief is the whole those billionaires on the Titan submarine that got lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're like way past it, I remember when it was happening, it was the only thing that people saw on the internet for like a week, and it was like a countdown of this much airlift, this much airlift, this much airlift, right? All that. So after the fact, we realized two things happened. One, there was a ship above the Titan that was constantly radio communication, like there was a log and updates, and then finally it just stopped responding after it said it was having major problems. And then two, like the Navy acknowledged that they heard, like they detected a weird sound on their underground radar stuff. So I was like, both of these entities kind of knew there was a problem, but we still chased it and spent all the resources for like 5 days to a week later. And it made us think, why? Why did they let the media run wild? Why didn't they just go to the media and say, hey, we think we heard this, let's just talk about that. And the guy that I was listening to, he's like, was there something else happening that week that we didn't want to address or acknowledge? Like, what's going on there? And I'm getting the same vibe here. That video on the plane was getting so much attention. Was there something else that we walked past?
Like a distraction?
Yeah.
At the same time as Tiffany Gomas freaking out on the plane?
Like, didn't our United States budget run out, or our deficit came to, so we had to like borrow again, or our borrow rating got decreased or something from a AAA rating to a AA rating?
Yes.
Yeah, our credit rating got screwed over again.
But that was real subtle.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is something that I've been looking at for a while. Are you guys familiar with the M2 money supply?
No.
I know I'm familiar with Modern Warfare 2.
Very cool. I love those maps. Classic. So if you're unfamiliar, high level, M2 is the money supply in cash, savings, checking accounts in banks across the United States. And since mid third quarter of last year, it's been decreasing, and it's actually jumped up a little bit in the last month, but it's the first time in history that it's dipped that much. And at the same time, we're seeing credit consumption has skyrocketed. I think that there we go. So Chris is actually sharing from the Fed, the Federal Reserve website. The M2 has actually dipped, and it hasn't done that in the history
since 1959. It has not dipped.
What is this? What is this?
Money supply.
The money supply, cash, checking, savings account, deposits, all that's available in circulation.
This is billions of dollars on the side.
Yes.
So it goes, and it was March 2022. It peaked, and then it started going down.
Yes.
So are you saying that's the amount of money that has been printed?
No, that is the amount of money that is in circulation.
Printed.
Okay.
And still currently in circulation?
That is available. Yes. And for the first time in history, it's actually dipping. Now, there have been instances around...
what does that mean? How could it dip?
It's going down, the amount that's available in circulation.
And what's the significance of this?
There's less money, period. It's somewhere else. Now, there's theories that it's going into CDs. They're saying that it's being pushed somewhere else. But at the same time that it's dipping, our credit, the consumer credit quantity, however you want to say, has gone into the trillions. So I think that a lot of people, the reason we aren't seeing the consumption drop is because a lot of people are consuming more on credit. And eventually we're going to cross the threshold where the credit is going to max out and they're not going to have the money, the cash available to pay off any of that credit or the interest to the banks or to the credit lenders, and we're going to see a crash.
Yeah, you're going to have all. I mean, we're talking about defaulting on big time loans.
Yes.
It's one thing for the housing market.
Wouldn't this be like related to people just not paying their student loans and not paying their rent because of all these like moratoriums and all this nonsense where no one's just like spending the money that they have to do?
You know what? When I look around and I'm driving on the freeway and I see all these people in their brand new $85,000 Broncos and their $100,000 Suburbans and they're just like soccer moms and shit, I look around and I tell Mel, I'm like, who the fuck are all these people who can afford a $100,000 car just casually? And who are the, people who are buying what was once $400,000 house, $300,000 house for close to $1 million? They're just doing it. Who are all these people? And the more I look into it, the more I start reading that these people are just getting financed for shit they can't afford. And I just think that everybody is just maxing out credit. I feel like there's a big problem of people maxing out credit.
It's terrible. The loan situation is absolutely atrocious. And I believe it's just as bad as it was when the housing market crashed before, if not worse.
Yes. Exactly.
Was 2020 the COVID year?
Yes.
Because I'm noticing from December 2019 to July 2020, they printed an additional $3 billion.
Yes.
I think it's $3 billion. Yeah. In a 6-month span, they said, let's just crank out $3 billion, which is the highest increase in that short amount of time in history.
Yes.
Well, that's when they're sending out the checks to everybody.
Oh yeah, the COVID checks.
So now it's course correcting, probably.
PPP loans.
Yeah.
So you think it's course correcting? How so?
I mean, if they falsely, because if you look at the graph, it's continuing to rise, and part of that's probably due to inflation, people making more money, population increasing, so it makes sense. And it's going at like, as the population rises, it's going at like a steady pace. But like Chris points out, it spikes because all of a sudden the government just prints all this money and gives it out to the entire population. But then all of a sudden people don't go back to work. People aren't paying their loans.
Or
the system
rent
starts to break down. So now it's dropping and course correcting back before the government printed all that money. Because usually you kind of like throughout your career, you're increasing. Like as you get older, you tend to make more money and it's going to increase. But if everybody stopped working and stopped paying their loans off, jobs start dropping, people stop going back to work. Now it's course correcting because it falsely increased.
So let me ask you this. As a result, we see that what impact do you think this is going to have on financial institutions?
Well, banks are already starting to close, like little by little. Like there's been several banks that have just completely collapsed. Like the federal government is in charge of more banks in like history, like since the Depression, that they had to support because they crashed. And it's happening very quietly. Like you'll see a couple of headlines like, hey, this bank collapsed. And then it kind of just disappears from the news. And a couple months later, another one collapsed, but you don't even hear about that one on the news.
Right. And you know what? I agree with you 100%. That's the point I was trying to get to, Ryan, is that we're seeing it quietly be put out, and all the
focus.
The focus is on what's hip in the news right now, which would be the aliens and would be not to say that it's not wrong. I'm pretty sure it's absolutely correct, but it's trying to hide what's happening in the background, and this is what's happening in the background.
Mm-hmm. Well, nobody pays attention to any of this because it's not fun, it's not sexy.
Yeah,
but like
just
if
numbers.
you look at the last 6 months, there's something, and it's being spread by social media because that's what everyone has their nose in. But it's like every other week, there's something new that's just like outlandish and just brings our peace of mind like all to one spot. Whether it was a freaking submarine full of millionaires that's sinking at the bottom of the ocean, whether it's a lady freaking out on a plane, let's bring her back a few months later, whether it's Hawaii catches on fire, and whether you believe conspiracy theories around that.
There you go.
And now we have a hurricane coming into California. Who knows what unprecedented flooding that's going to cause.
First time in history, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you know who Michael Burry is? Does that ring a bell?
No.
Michael Burry is
the fantasy football guy, Michael Berry. Yeah, I know who that is.
He's the one, the 2008, The Big Short.
Oh, yeah. He's betting on the stock market to crash.
Yes, and so you heard that recently. He's betting on he's shorting the market again.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Do you think he's on point, or is this just?
I don't know. I mean,
blowing out his options.
I saw The Big Short, and at the end of it, it's like, oh, he's putting all his money in water now. It's like, okay, like sure, like
That's a good point.
I do think the stock market is going to crash because it's like Tesla isn't worth as much as it's priced on there. Like all these stocks are like fake.
Well, and if you look, there's only like a handful of companies that are keeping the rest of it afloat. Like Apple and Google are doing all the heavy lifting right now, and everything else is just riding its coattails.
Well, let me ask you this: so Tesla, what kind of company do you think Tesla is, Ryan?
It's a car company.
No,
it's an information company.
Yes, it's an information company. Stephen, why is it an information company?
Because they data log like everything you do in your cars, and you're uploading a bunch of information.
Exactly,
like your routes,
your tendencies, your patterns, everything that you do in that car is being uploaded, and they're selling off that information to people who need it.
Yes,
that's what they really are.
Now,
I mean, the cars are cool, but whatever.
Yeah, the
cars are trash.
Some of the cars look fucking gross. Like they look like eggs. The expensive ones look cool. They look closer to Porsches, but every time I see the egg looking one, I'm like, you're annoying.
I always confuse them for like a slug bug.
Yeah.
But the valuation of the firm, I agree with you 100%, Ryan. It's worth trash.
Yeah.
But 100%. But yeah, that's an interesting thing that I thought. I actually 100% agree that it's probably going to go down. When? Who knows?
Now, in its defense, I think regardless of the situation, I think all things are cyclical in that fashion. Where even if there wasn't weird stuff happening, the market should be going up, and then it'll come down, and it'll come back around. Like, I think it's going to be cyclically happening all the time on that. But this one looks more like there's some other figures impacting that.
Yeah.
I mean, like the kind of the same thing, like with labor unions, for example. Like in the 20s, the average worker was like treated very unsafe, unhealthy, unfairly. So unions formed, and they were needed, and they said, hey, there should be a working hour, there should be maternity leave, kind of things like that. So they've done a lot of great things. And I think now they've come so far that they're like, okay, well, we need to keep coming up with great things, or people are going to want to disband or not be part of us. So now I feel like they're pushing so hard that the market's having a hard time doing what it needs to do. So I think it's only a matter of time before it pushes back, and maybe unions are viewed as, maybe they'll be more viewed in a negative light. So it'll start coming back, and I think businesses' greed will start coming back in. And
are you telling me paying a freaking apprentice $80 an hour isn't sustainable?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm telling you. So
I'm like exaggerating a little bit, but the cost of union labor in any capacity, whether it's good or bad, is so far above a regular salary like that other people would make, that it's just ridiculous to me. And then once you take that and you compound it with how hard it is paperwork wise, risk wise, to do union work, everybody else's prices along that chain of the production chain skyrockets. So by the time a government funds a project and it gets put into place and they finish it, the cost, I mean, it's exponentially higher than it should be. I mean, it's just so much money. The labor takes so much money. And like the fun part is, if you don't do everything right, you get fined up the ass by the same union companies that you're like trying to work with. Like, you're trying to work with them, you're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to put the right guys out there, you're trying to meet the quotas for apprenticeship hours, you're trying to meet the job descriptions of like, hey, my guys are doing like this, and I need to have this union working on this side, whatever. They'll just start auditing you, and, oh, you made this one little mistake, here's 20 grand. Fine. Like, in the state of California is in bed with all these guys, so they're backing them up. So I don't know, it's crazy.
At that point, it turns to opportunity costs, and I have it's a bittersweet for me because I used to work in a union and it was fantastic.
They're great for the worker.
Yeah.
The union is typically great for the worker. But if you're talking about how to effectively use taxpayer money to take care of problems, it's not good, because you're looking at something. Let's take, for example, the homelessness problem. I do a lot of projects where it's funded by affordable housing or housing for homeless people, more or less. So they take like a lot or some sort of lot in like Los Angeles, whatever city, and they build like a modern, quote unquote, modern apartment building that they're going to give to either homeless people or very poor people. And they use government money and government programs to do all this. And to build a, 50 unit, 100 unit apartment building, you couldn't even imagine the costs that it costs to build this. And you're only taking care of what, maybe 50 families max in this building.
Yeah.
And then after a couple years, they destroy the shit out of it. Like, is that the best way to use taxpayer dollars? Don't even get me started on the design concepts that these apartment buildings have. They take your tax dollars and they'd start designing like decorative features all over the place that are insane amount of money, but they don't care because they're like, oh, well, it's paid for by the government. So let's just put in these like cantilevered seat walls that are fucking spiraling all over the place with a decorative finish. Don't get me started.
Yeah, because it's supported by taxpayer money, and the people. Yeah, that's like the most secure income you can get if you're the property owners, which is why it's so popular amongst investors.
Give that government money to a private a developer without any sort of wage restrictions or anything on it. Tell them, hey, I just need somebody to build the maximum amount of units with this money, and you'll see like quadruple the amount of buildings and units be done.
Yeah. No, Ryan, I saw you roll your eyes. Sorry to cut you off. What was what's up? You were gonna insert a comment.
Well, the whole issue with these people are getting paid 6-figure, 7-figure salaries to solve the homeless issue is they're not going to solve the issue, because if they solve the issue, they don't get their 6-7-figure salary anymore.
Very true.
Right.
And I agree.
So they just keep like, okay, I'm working on this project that's going to solve it. Oh, I need more money to solve that. It's going to take another year. It's going to take another 2 years, another 3 years. So they don't have an investment to finish the project.
Well, that's the problem with bureaucracy, right? That's the problem with bureaucracy is if you find the problem and you have the government try to solve it, it's much harder to dissolve that entity or that bureaucrat. Yeah, much harder. So people, they want to help and they vote to want to help, but at the end of the day, it's like, is it really solving the problem?
Well, I think the issue is like the left and the right, they take these problems that are hot button issues and they weaponize them against each other.
Yeah.
I love how your topics turn into these discussions, Ryan.
I was just going to ask, how do we get from A to B on this? Because we're talking about crazy plane.
I know.
This crazy plane lady was a distraction from the real issues in society.
There you go.
I do agree that they do distract us with simple stuff. I mean, I think a market adjustment, I think a crash would do a lot of good for the problems I see.
Do a lot of good for me right now, actually.
And it's not just like, hey, I want to buy a house in a nicer neighborhood. I think like a lot of things are out of control right now, and a lot of people are taking advantage, like those oil gougers that we were talking about.
How fucking dare you?
Okay, but for real though, have you gone to a dealership lately and tried to buy like a car that's, I mean, they're marked up.
That's insane. I'm being told by people who work in like banks that people regularly take out like loans on cars. It's like $500-$600 a month to drive a fucking car.
You're mixing. You're mixing industries. You're talking about chips. You're talking about.
But you're a part of it.
No, I was joking about the oil comment, but I'm just talking about how a lot of industries right now, okay, they hear the word inflation and they're like, oh, let's raise our price. Well, how much? Well, I don't care. Just fucking raise it up. Everybody's raising their price. It's like a chain reaction of people just raising their prices. And then when you go and try to buy your Happy Meal, it's $10. When you go to buy your truck, it used to be $50,000 for a nice truck. Now it's $60,000. Plus, you know what? Everybody wants these trucks right now. So I'm going to add 10 more grand to it. And you're like, why? And they're like, oh, well, just cause
supply and demand.
Yeah, that's how they. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's
there's not that much demand.
It's the downside because it's like, hey, everybody wants it, or like Steven's saying, there's not that much demand. There's still a fair amount of demand because I would say even in the construction world, the demand may not be super high, but there's so many things impacting the chain that it's like, hey, if you don't pull the trigger, I mean, we have to pull the trigger on projects so early now to make them actually finish on time. We're talking about we need components and switchgear and computer chips. But if you don't order those like 14 months in advance, you're not getting your building.
Yeah. What project was I just on? They were like, yeah, everybody, like we had to order our switchgear like 2 years ahead of time. It was like a private apartment complex in Irvine, and they're like, yeah, we ordered the switchgear 14 or 15 months ahead of time because that's when you're going to get it.
So I got a question. What do we do?
You? Nothing. Me? Nothing.
Yeah.
We are not. We are merely bystanders.
You vote outside the two-party system. That's what you do.
No, that doesn't have any impact, does it?
Like I said, you do nothing. That would do nothing.
No. What do you do as an individual?
I don't know, man. I do have a lot of liquid cash right now that I've been kind of embarrassingly sitting on for too long, and I don't know what to do with it. So I don't really know how to take advantage of this kind of situation. The market's really high. I don't want to invest in it. You know, the rates are okay. I mean, I was like, oh, it's just sitting in like a 5% savings account right now. I'm like, what do I do with this fucking shit?
You just got to call Ryan. Ryan knows what
Shiba coin.
Yeah, but I have
shut up. Shiba coin.
I feel like
crypto's going to go way down.
I just feel like I should stay liquid because if there is some sort of downturn adjustment, then that's when you can capitalize on having some.
But then how do you counteract inflation? You're losing money every time.
That's the problem. Is during inflation, it was losing money. But if it were to adjust, like say the housing market crashed, or like just shit in general crashed, and you're sitting on money, the inflation might not be there unless they start printing money again.
But if the shit crashed, wouldn't you want to have the product instead of the money to buy the product?
Why would I want to buy a house right now, per se, and then have it crash and be sitting on a house
be good.
with like.
Yeah, in my situation right now, we're renting, and there's literally no reason for us to buy right now because our rent it's relatively cheap. If I buy a house, I throw $100,000 into a house. It's okay, great, I got into a house, but now my mortgage is $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. But right now, if like shit hits the fan, I'm like, okay, I can survive for a couple of years without having to stress.
Yeah.
I guess maybe not a house is a good example, but let's take a step down to like a car maybe. Like let's say you go out and you buy a car and then the market crashes. Even if you don't finish paying off that car, they can come to you and say, hey, you need to finish paying this. Well, you can sort that out however you want, but you still have the car at the moment, or you have the accessories or anything else you're trying to buy with it. You have the product instead of holding on to green paper that its value can change in an instant.
Yeah, I'm outside the system. We both of our cars are paid off completely. We don't owe anything on them. We don't have any desire to go buy one just because it's new. Like I have a Toyota. She has a Honda. They're fine.
Watch out for those curbs, though.
So it's like
I talk Mel off the ledge every month. She constantly is like, I want to get a new car. I'm like, no, because we paid off her little Civic. Yeah, it's not like what we want to drive around in, but it's free fucking transportation.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, why do you want to go buy a freaking? She wants, like some decent SUV, like crossover SUV. I mean, $50,000 starting point for a lot of those SUVs. It's like, well, do I really want to go get that payment?
It's for the flex. It's because just look what I have.
Her car does suck to drive around. I get it.
Sure.
It's loud. It's just a freaking economy commuter car, and it's not fun, but it works.
I fucking hate the automobile market because it keeps people. I'm a firm believer that it keeps people fucking poor because it's like nowadays it's like $800 a month for a decent car. It is, right? Fucking A.
When
they want to
my
max
car,
you out.
It was $250 a month, and I
And
paid
loans.
$300 a month to get it done early.
Yeah,
people financing you for your car are fucking sharks, dude. They're like putting freaking people who make $50,000 a year in like an $80,000 Yukon. They don't care. They're like, they'll figure it out, or we'll just take the car back. The used car market's fucking jamming. We don't care. Like used cars are expensive as shit too. Anyways, that's crazy.
But put you back in that bad loan situation that's going to crash the market.
Is there any concern that your paper money becomes worthless at some point? It sounds like...
But we're all in the same boat. If that shit fucking hits the fan like that, man, everybody's fucked.
Yeah, you got bigger things to worry about.
I can diversify and put it in gold, and I can put it in crypto, or I can put it in other currencies.
Ugh.
But dude, if the American dollar crashes, there's major problems, and we're all fucked.
I wouldn't put it in crypto. Did you know that the federal government...
I'd never put money in crypto.
As an example, I understand.
Join me on the Shiba train, Steven. I have 427,000 Shiba coins.
I will do meme stocks.
It cost me $4.
Yeah, is it going to sell off at 69 cents?
Hey, if it ever gets to anything, I can.
That's what it sold off at last time. It sold off.
Dogecoin's different.
Oh no, Doge isn't that the same?
No,
it's the same dog icon.
Oh, fucking retarded. Okay,
they're both meme coins. It's all of it's a joke.
I don't. It doesn't have any underlying asset, so I don't invest in it.
I mean, the whole thing is that you still have to sell it. You have to sell it into a normal currency to make it worth anything.
Exactly.
So who's going to be left with the bag someday?
Shiba is a decentralized cryptocurrency created by an anonymous person known as Roshi. So a guy just created this and started selling it?
Yeah.
Well, that's a free market for you.
That's all of crypto and NFTs. Like no one talks about NFTs anymore. That shit fucking went down.
Bombed, yeah. But it was good to show a loss.
You can't sell pictures, bro.
You could totally can. And guess what? That's how you launder money.
Oh yeah. Well, the art has been a way to launder money for a long time.
It's just a new way to do it.
There's just I would always read or hear those stories about how there's just warehouses outside of New York City full of just like fine art
But
that people buy for millions of dollars and just throw in a warehouse because they want the write-off.
Like Angel said, it's the market dictates the value. So if we all stopped buying gas, you know what Shell would do? It would go down to $2 a gallon.
You bastard.
You know what they would do? They would just say, you know what, it's $30 a gallon, and we're just going to make that for the people who have to drive, because there's people who have to drive and have to get gas.
You remember how cheap gas got when COVID first started? Like it collapsed. It went back down to like.
There was a term for it. Do you want to know what the term was? Do you want the term was? Demand destruction. Mm-hmm. That was the buzzword for the first 3 months of COVID. Demand destruction.
Yeah, everybody stayed home for the first 2 weeks, like they told everybody to. So they stopped filling up, and gas was dirt cheap. It was great.
You know what? Gas had been cheap for a while. It was during Trump's administration. Not to say it was Trump's doing of any sort. I don't know all that, but during that time, it was in the twos.
Yeah. And
immediately after COVID, it jumped up to. And not to say it's Biden's fault either, because I don't know about all that shit. But after COVID, it got bumped up to 5. It's been staying in the mid 5s for a long time. New norm.
Go ahead and buy a gas-powered car or diesel. It's good for you and good for the economy.
I'm on team hybrid. Right in the middle.
How dare you, you communist bastard.
I'm on team company gas card.
Hey, Steven, have you heard of the Upside app? Let me send you a link.
Upside?
Yeah.
Is there any downside to the Upside?
Nope. Not if you have a gas card for a company.
My company doesn't give us gas cards.
Steven, you can get 12 cents per gallon when you fill up that truck of yours. That'd be like $2 every time you fill up.
I don't have to pay to fill up my truck.
You won't. You just connect your gas card to the Upside app, and when you fill up your tank, you'll get like $2 and you can cash out anytime.
Oh, dude, we'll talk about that on Saturday. You'll help me set that up.
I have made $120 on the Upside app since I've been using it for a year.
I might not go Saturday.
200? Is that what you said?
Well, did you
say 200, Ryan?
No, like $120. I've been using it for about a year.
Still 120.
It's free money. But anyway, Tiffany Gomas. I don't know what's going on with her. I'm leaning against that something actually happened on the plane, because one of the videos of her walking through the airport, she talks about how the plane's going to blow up. And she's like, just wait and see, it's going to blow up. And she sounds much more intoxicated in the police body cam videos that have come out. So
yeah,
I'm less confident in her. But I do think this apology video isn't is suspicious as well.
Wow.
Steven, what say you?
Yeah, I think she's just like a schizo, maybe undiagnosed.
Jesus.
I mean, she's having an episode and unfortunately got publicized for everybody to see. But you know what, Ryan? If the guy was going to blow up the plane and she called it out, he might have had to I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to.
Well,
she called him out.
There was a video of the person that she was sitting next to, and it was not the hooded man that we theorized in the previous video. It was this like middle-aged, heavy-set Middle Eastern guy that he was sitting next to, and he's like, I don't know what the hell is wrong with her.
Chris, what say you?
Yeah, I would say. I think it's weird. I think the apology video seems weird. The main reason why I think the apology video is weird is when the initial video came out, it was all on a lot of random websites. Did it make it on TMZ?
Yeah, I think it did.
Okay,
TMZ always reports like random shit like that.
Yeah,
too.
So it's like TMZ, but it wasn't a lot of the headliner guys. And so I just now Googled apology video, and you know what website pitched it out first? Forbes. And I was like, Forbes had a whole section on this apology video like that.
Why would they even care?
Yes, that's my point. But Forbes is like a well-respected. A lot of people listen to it and buy in on stuff like that.
That would back the distraction theory.
Yeah. So that's the point I was getting at. Is it seems like a distraction ideal. I think the Titan submarine fits the scope. I think this incident fits the scope. I just feel like anytime the news feeds, because I like for them all to report on the same topic, and I can kind of read between the lines and see like what I think the real truth is. But when all of them report the same thing, it makes me like question that, like how we're all coming together on this one topic. So So I think the apology video is fake, and there's something just some distraction there.
What happened first, her apology video or Hawaii catching on fire?
Hawaii's only been like a week ago. The apology video.
Well, it looks like 4 days ago is the first thing I'm seeing.
Yeah.
On a quick Google search.
That sounds right.
God damn, the Hawaii shit's pissing me off.
Why?
It's just like everybody like saying it's like laser beams. I'm like, do you understand that if there was actual laser beams coming from the sky, how many people would be freaking out and putting it all over the place? Like,
nah, bro.
Just shut up.
I saw lasers from the ice.
And they're like, oh, the luxury homes didn't get burned down. I'm like, oh yeah, the ones that probably have like lots of like water and vegetation that's not flammable. Yeah. And like in that they probably have people like firefighters that are going to protect it because they're like more important than you. I think it's some conspiracy, like they paid to destroy all the land.
Yeah.
That's the conspiracy on, they're destroying the land on purpose so they could buy it all back. And I'm like,
there's a lot of
no. I just think that rich people have more pull with the fire department.
Yeah. Tiffany's apology video was like 4 to 5 days ago, Ryan. About the same time.
Crazy. Well, I'll tell you this, okay? Ryan, I apologize for the videos. It was actually because you were sharing audio on some of these, and I found another. We record for the listeners. We record online, and there's several services that provide the opportunity to record online. And one of the other ones apparently did not have. It was a different. Basically, we downloaded a different format. Ryan's audio was if Google YouTube Funny Mic. That's what it basically sounds like. That it's garbled nonsense. It's way too loud, and that's something I should have done a little more of the research on, so I apologize, Ryan.
I feel like it was the government.
You feel like it was the government fucking with the audio?
Angel.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so that's why I returned to the current platform, and ever since then, it's been fine. So that other platform we're not using anymore, so I don't see any issues for this podcast.
You know what's interesting, Angel?
Let's hear it.
We were just talking about the same story again.
Yeah.
And Chris was on to something, and then we all got booted at the same time.
We just got kicked off.
And then he's going to say, you know what? All this stuff was and it's going to be like, oh, what? The audio is fucked up because
I'm going to be so pissed if it's fucked. Oh, no. I'm not going to hear the end of it. But anyway, it's really late, guys. Ryan, thank you so much for your topic. Anything else you guys want to say? To our listeners, thank you so much for hanging in there with us.
Yes, I have an important message for the listeners.
Let's hear it. Thank you so much for listening. And
when things seem tough, always remember that the night is always darkest before dawn. Stay strong, persevere, protect what's close to you. And peace.
Yeah.
God, you've been fucking binging David Goggins.
What movie was that from?
Stay hard.
Lord of the Rings, Twin Towers right there. Twin Towers? Two towers.
The night is always darkest from dawn. That was a quote from Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight.
That was a good one.
Is that a comedy?
But it rings true. That was a good one. The Dark Knight, I think, was the best Batman movie I've seen so far. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Best Christopher Nolan film.
I think I'm going to jerk off to like a midget threesome tonight.
Send us the link.
I will.
Okay.
I'm thinking big booty Latina.
No,
midget.
have redheads with big tits. Big milky tits.
I'm not on the red.
Yeah, and Steven, don't be insecure about it either.
Don't you fucking dare.
Dude, I love tits and I love vaginas so much, and it's like my favorite thing in the world. I definitely don't like cock fucking drugs.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for hopping on, and have a good night.
Right on.
Hey, stay away.
Peace in the Middle East. And I said something about him doing jumping jacks in basketball shorts and how it'd be like, hot to watch that or something.